it's Megan again here on the Lawson Farm. This week's video, I'm going to show y'all how to make a nice flaky pie crust using good old lard. Y'all know I talk a lot about my lard, but it is good for a lot of things. First thing I want to tell you though is make sure if you are making desserts using your lard that it is actually leaf fat lard, just because it's not as porky as if you were to render lard from other parts of the pig. That fat. So the leaf lard is the less porky of them, so that way our pie crust won't have a pork taste. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is we need a measuring cup here. Okay, so I got my measuring cup, and I'm going to need a tablespoon of vinegar. Let me get my tablespoon. Tablespoon of just plain old white vinegar. We're going to put that in the measuring cup. Then we've got 1 egg. We're going to crack that straight into our measuring cup there. And then we're going to whisk those together. Alright. Now I'm going to put enough cold water in this to get the liquid up to 1/2 cup. So I'm just going to get cold water straight out of the sink. And we're going to put it up to 1/2 cup. Alright. Then we're going to mix that together. Just make sure all that's combined. Okay. And we're going to set that aside. Next thing we need is 3 cups of all-purpose flour or pastry flour, ever what you have on hand. I usually just have all-purpose flour, and this recipe works fine with that. Alright, so we're going to take that and we're going to put a tablespoon of sugar and about a teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to sprinkle some in here. So of course that sugar is going to make this a sweet crust. So this is going to be more of a dessert crust. If this is going to be for a chicken pie or something like that, you can just omit the sugar and not put that in there. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a stir. Then we need good cold lard. Some people actually freeze their lard. I do not. I just get it straight out of the refrigerator. But I went ahead and measured this out. But you're going to need a cup of nice cold lard, okay? And we're going to put that in there. In my handy dandy little pastry cutter thing, whatever this thing's called. And we're going to do just like I showed you in last week's video. We're just going to do this until we have pieces of lard that are no bigger than a pea. I hope y'all can hear the peeping in my video. For the first time ever here on the farm, we have hatched out some of our eggs, and the chicks actually just started hatching yesterday. So if I had to guess, I bet there's at least 15 little chicks in there, and we're going to get them out and put them in the brooder hopefully this evening and raise those up. It's they're just a barnyard mix, you know, we don't raise anything purebred. But I'm interested to see what some of them look like. I had some cochins, and I was hoping to have some with some fuzzy feet, but no such luck. None of them have fuzzy feet. Alright, and then so every once in a while I'm going to go through and do this. You can do this if you have a food processor. You can put this mixture in the food processor and just mix it until you have the pea sizes. But my food processor died this past fall. Haven't invested in a new one yet. I will need that coming up this summer, so I will probably have to invest in me a new one. But doing it this way is fine, or with a fork. Just something to get that lard cut into this flour. Alright, that looks pretty good. Like I said, I'm just looking for pieces that any big pieces. Don't want anything any bigger than a pea. This recipe here will actually make you 2 balls of dough. So when I make my pie, I like to make a bottom crust and a top crust. But the dough will actually freeze well if you just want to use one type of crust, you know, a bottom crust and then freeze the other part to have for later. You can make it ahead of time to have for later. All that good stuff. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright. So you can see there that it's kind of rough looking. It's no longer smooth flour. Now what we're going to do, where did my spoon go? Oh. Alright. So we're going to take our liquid and we're going to start mixing this flour mixture. Just turning it. And we're going to slowly start adding this in. Just a little bit at a time. And I'm just bringing the edges together. Slowly mixing this. It may not take all of the liquid, and that's fine. You want it to add it until you have a crumbly dough. Okay. So usually I have a little bit of the liquid mixture left over. So I'm actually making this crust to make a apple pie. Dehydrated a lot of apples this past fall, late summer. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I posted a picture of one of the pies I made back in December. But that's what I'm going to be making today. But I'm going to do them in 2 separate videos so as not to bore y'all too long. And actually, I believe this is going to take all of my liquid this time. I promise I didn't tell you fib. Sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. A lot of times it depends on the humidity that's in the air. That has a lot to do with it. Alright. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to dump this on the counter here. Y'all can see there that it's kind of, it's crumbly, but it's sticking together, and I actually may need to add a little bit more cold water. We'll see when I go to do this part. A lot of it depends on the humidity in the air though. And it's winter time here. Let's see what it does. There's not a lot of moisture in the air right now. So hence I may need more moisture in my flour. And I believe I'm going to need some. Alright, so I'm just going to get like another little bit of cold water. You just want to make sure that it's cold. And I'm going to add that in there. And I'm just kind of mashing it together with my hands. I'm not exactly stirring it. I'm just trying to get it all incorporated because we want it to be kind of crumbly. Put just a little more. If you've never had pie crust made from lard, it's delicious. In our society today, a lot of people make it with butter or margarine. Lard is still slightly frowned upon, but it is actually a good fat and a good healthy fat for your body. Our brain is made up of mostly fat, and if you incorporate good fat into your diet, it is good for your brain health. Alright, so this right here is about what I'm looking for. So what you want to do is we're going to separate these into 2 balls here, just like this. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, it took me a while and a lot of experimenting, a lot of research to make a pie crust, which I know it sounds crazy, but like I've made pie crust before and they're so tough you can't even stand to eat the pie. But this right here seems to be a good one. And another key to good pie crust that I have found out is we're going to refrigerate this at least an hour before we go to roll it out and make the pie. That is absolutely key. And it doesn't have to be just an hour, like you can refrigerate it overnight. I've done that before, you know, make it ahead of time. But, yeah, it needs to be refrigerated. So that good cold lard, you know, it incorporates better with the dough. You just want your dough to be good and cold when you go to roll it out. It's a lot easier to work with. And so what I'll do, we'll wrap these up in saran wrap. So let me get me some saran wrap here. So I'll take my ball like this in my saran wrap, and I will put that straight in the refrigerator like that, and I will do both of them that way. Oh, excuse me. I got flour on the side of my eyes, itching. So we got these all wrapped up. Like I said, that's going to go straight into the refrigerator like that. If you're going to freeze it, make sure you put it in a freezable container, whether it be a Ziploc bag, a freezer bag, or a freezer container, just to protect it from getting any type of freezer burn. And you can freeze this and use it months down the road. You know, just to have you some extra, if you want to make up some extra to do that with. And y'all, that's it for today. I just wanted to come on and show you how I make my pie crust. Like I said, I struggled with it for a couple years. Like, I struggled for a while trying to figure out how to make pie crust. So what I'm going to do is I will post another video in the next few days of how to make my apple pie using dehydrated apples. If you've never eaten a pie or made a pie with dehydrated apples, you will never go back to fresh apples once you try making it with dehydrated apples. Absolutely delicious. The apples don't get mushy. You know, it's good, y'all. It's real good. So make sure you got that notification bell turned on so you know when I post that video. And in that video as well, I'll be showing you how I roll out my pie crust, get it ready, you know, and that'll all just be incorporated in the next video. So also, True Grit Southern Cooking and Canning is going to be start being featured in a magazine called Wedding Inspirations. So check that out. I'll put a link in the description. Would appreciate if you check that out. I know you're thinking like wedding and cooking, but you gotta think, new brides, you know, a lot of times they don't know how to cook or they don't know where to start. And I want to encourage people to know that they can cook from scratch. It's possible, and work and have a family. You know, and I'm here to show y'all the easy way, you know, because I'm all about easy. But yeah, so I'll be featured in that magazine. I'll put a link in the description. If y'all would check them out and give them a like on Facebook, that would be awesome. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and give it a subscribe if you'd like to, if you like this kind of stuff. And like I said, get that notification bell on so you'll know when I post my apple pie recipe, and we will continue this about our pie dough. So, thank you so much. Talk to y'all next time.